and welcome. This is the Swampy Sports Podcast, Week 8 NFL preview show with me, your very sexy and humble host, Dylan Marsh, and with always my brother, James Douglas Marsh.
What's going on, y'all?
Also known as JD, as I will call him throughout this podcast. And we are going to give you our predictions of every game this week in NFL, why I think they're going to win, why I think the Browns are going to lose, and just everything in between. So, JD, let's go ahead and get started with the first game.
Before we get started with first game, Dylan completely wiped me clean up and down the picks last week.
And again, are we surprised?
He went 11-3 to bring his record to 46-28, and I went 6-8 to bring my record to 39-35.
And again, we are not surprised. So,
bad week for me, bad week. But we're going to turn around this week, guys.
we're going to turn it around, guys. The Team JD train is definitely going to turn it around. So, all right, let's get to it.
All right, first game on the schedule, we got Thursday Night Football, Jaguars at the Titans. Who you got, Dylan?
So, first off, this is a color rush game of my favorite color rush game of the year. You're going to have the Jaguars in their mustard yellow jerseys in there, and the Titans in their, I'm assuming is going to be their baby blue. It's basically the home uniform with baby blue pants. So, but actually, it's how much I've been dogging on the Titans lately. I'm going to take the Titans in this football game because Titans are at home, and it's a Thursday night, and everything seems to be wacky on Thursday night. Everybody who should lose on Thursday night wins. And Thursday night, Monday night, and Sunday night games are always awful. And so I'm not going to watch it. I'll be too busy doing other things. But I'm going to take the Titans in this one because I think DeMarco Murray is going to have a big game against this Jaguar defense, who has proven itself and starting to prove itself, over the years with all these draft picks. But it's just going to be one of those games. I got a gut feeling the Titans are going to pull this one out. DeMarco Murray's having an average year, 633 yards, 5 touchdowns already. So, yeah, I'm going to take Murray and the Tennessee Titans, or the old Houston Oilers.
I'm taking Jacksonville on the sole fact that the teams that are supposed to win this game don't win the game Thursday nights, and the Titans should win this game, but
the Titans are just awful.
When it's a short week, the better team, it just seems like they don't prepare as well. And the Titans are the better team than Jacksonville Jaguars. I was way off in my pick for Jacksonville winning the AFC South. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe a year too early. But I'm going Jacksonville to win this game. I think Blake Bortles will be able to pass the ball. I think TJ Yeldon will be able to run the ball. And I think that DeMarco Murray is going to get shut down. Boom you, Dylan. So,
boom me? No, boom you. Boom you? No, boomer sooner.
All right, but anyway, here we go. On to our next game. At 8:30 in the morning on Sunday, over again in London, we have the Washington Redskins taking on the Cincinnati Bengals.
Next thing you know, there's going to be a game every week in London because there's probably going to be an NFL team in London, which is going to be awful.
I agree.
If we get I'd rather have a team in Mexico than London. And hey, they're both two possibilities now for some reason. But we got this one being played in Wembley Stadium. Got two mediocre quarterbacks, but one's more mediocre than the other, with Kirk Cousins versus Andy Dalton. And I'm going to take the Redskins. I'm going to take the Washington defense over this Bengals offense because they're in London, and the time difference is going to have nothing to do with it. I don't know why I brought that up, but it just makes me mad.
It does have something to do with it. It does.
Well, it's not going to affect, I don't think, not in my opinion, I don't think it's going to make the Redskins win or lose, but because it affects everybody. But I'm going to say Josh Norman is going to be all over A.J. Green.
Whenever he comes to his side.
Yeah, but wait, what? Oh,
Josh Norman doesn't.
No, he'll be on AJ Green, and hopefully AJ Green has a good day fantasy wise for me. But I'm going to pick the Redskins to win this ball game. I think Kirk Cousins will have a decent game because he's not in America where everyone hates him. So I think he's going to have pressure off of his back. So give me the Redskins.
I'm with you. I'm going Redskins too. Pretty much I'm just taking a gut feeling on this one. So give me the Redskins. I think that Cincinnati's defense isn't what it used to be. I think they've gotten older and age has become a factor, and I think Cousins is going to have a big day throwing to Pierre Garçon and Deshaun Jackson. Give me the Redskins.
All right, let's go to the next one, friend.
Next one, we got the Kansas City Chiefs traveling to Indianapolis to take on the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, man. Chiefs, Colts. Put me down for Kansas City. I think, wait, no, hold on a second. Got a little fight going on in my brain right now. You know what? Yeah, keep me for Kansas City. I'm gonna keep Kansas City on the fact that the Colts defense is nowhere to be found, and the Colts are trying to build this team around Andrew Luck on the offensive side of the ball. They're not doing anything to help them on defense. God help them. So I think Spencer Ware is going to have a huge game, receiving and running. Alex Smith's going to do his usual, about maybe 20 passes, 20, 25 passes in that game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, I think. I think Luck will do pretty well managing the game, but the defense is just going to hurt the Colts, I feel like. So give me the Kansas City Chiefs.
We are just disagreeing on everything in this podcast so far.
Oh, no.
I'm going Colts.
That's why I'm kicking your butt.
On the sole fact that I think they're finally getting going on offense. Andrew Luck's finding T.Y. a lot and getting him involved, and Frank Gore's been able to run the ball well. And I think that win against Tennessee last week was a confidence booster. Even though the Chiefs are playing well, their last two games have been, one was at home. The last week was a win against the Saints at home, and the week before that, they did go on the road to Oakland and face a very tough Oakland team and got a victory. But I think that the Colts defense will step up and finally play up to their potential and put Andrew Luck in good position to make plays, and give me the Colts.
All right.
On to our next game, we have the Oakland Raiders traveling to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers.
All right, man. Like I've said all year, I like what the Raiders are doing. I love what the Las Vegas Raiders are doing. Love Derek Carr. I love the way he's playing right now. And Murray, killing it right now in the backfield. I've been getting names wrong all day. Isn't that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Latavius Murray.
Yeah. I've been getting names wrong all day. I'm out of it. But I love the combination between Cooper and Crabtree on the offensive side of the ball. I love Khalil Mack anchoring down that Raider defense. And I don't think illiterate Jameis Winston will be able to do too much, even though it's a home game. Put me down for the Raiders. I think the Raiders are destined to be great again pretty soon if they keep Derek Carr and they stay healthy. I like them a lot. I think, like I just said, I don't know if you heard me, but I think that the Raiders are destined to be great again, like they were, if they stay healthy and they keep Derek Carr and they keep the receiving core that they got.
Yeah, I got Raiders too. We actually agree on this one, Dylan. Jameis Winston, he's playing well, but he's not what a superstar quarterback developing in their second year would be doing.
Yeah.
So I think Derek Carr is playing out of his mind right now, and I think they're going to, even though Tampa Bay is a 1-point favorite, I'm going to take the Raiders to win this game by 7. I think they're going to go in and be able to control the ball, and their defense, anchored down, like you said, by Khalil Mack, will make plays and force Jameis Winston to throw some interceptions.
Exactly.
And on to our next game, we got the Seattle Seahawks finally traveling down to New Orleans to take on the Saints.
Okay, well, before anyone judges me on this one, I think this is going to be a lot better game than everyone expects.
I think it's going to be very high scoring.
I think there's. I'm taking the Seahawks on the fact that they have a decent defense and the Saints only put like 3 people out there on defense to play. So at least that's what it looks like statistically. But I'm taking the Seahawks in this one because it's getting to the point to where it seems like every year Russell Wilson is starting to turn. Like
Hey, you finally got his name.
I know, not Russell Westbrook, Russell Wilson. But this is about the time of the year to where he usually starts just lighting everybody up. And if this is going to be any game, it's going to be this game against this horrendous Saints defense who are just
Every year, every single year.
well, especially this year, it's just awful. This year and last year, but if this is going to be any game where Russell Wilson starts just to basically catch fire, because he always ends the season on fire, and they usually make the playoffs, and that's when they're dangerous, and that's why they are dangerous in playoffs, because they peak at the right time. And so I feel like this is going to be the game that starts that, but I think it's going to be a lot better game than everyone thinks. Like you said, it's going to be a high scoring, but I think Drew Brees is going to have a huge game like he always does. I think Cooks is going to have maybe a couple touchdowns. I think the Legion of Boom is definitely not who they used to be. They never really were that great anyway. But they just have a lot of loud talkers, so they get the media's attention. But yeah, give me this. Yeah, the Seahawks definitely, but I'm going to say it's because Russell Wilson is definitely going to become a key factor in the next coming weeks in the whole league.
Yeah,
for the
I'm
playoff.
going Seahawks too because I think that defense played exceptional against Arizona,
Yeah, definitely.
and
Tie.
I think they're going to slow down Drew Brees, and I believe that the Saints defense can't even stop a fourth grade offense. So I'm going Seahawks to win this game big in New Orleans and just disappoint everyone down in New Orleans. I'm sorry. I hope it's different. I hope the Saints win the game, but I can't not pick the Seahawks in this game.
Stop acting like you don't give a crap. Or stop acting like you give a crap. You don't care.
I'd rather see the Saints beat the Seahawks than the Seahawks
All
beat the
right.
Saints.
Okay, next game I know.
All
I
right,
got a lot
one,
to say.
This one is close to your heart. And we got the Detroit Lions traveling down to Houston to take on the Texans.
Well, Monday night,
I can't believe I picked them to win. And
I was very shocked you picked the Texans.
I just had a feeling.
And, we found out who Brock Osweiler was.
Someone who's robbing the city of Houston of $70 million.
Oh, gosh. That dude was terrible. He set the record. I'm sorry, no. He was second most, second least yards passed with over 30 passing attempts with 120-something yards passing that game with no touchdowns and an interception, which I was very surprised. The Broncos did not get a sack that game, but they lit him up after every pass play. And, we ran the ball really well. Texas ran the ball great with Lamar Miller and Alfred Blue. And we just could not pass. Our defense is horrendous without J.J. Watt anchoring that defense down. We look like we're a boss out there. Jadeveon Clowney doesn't know what to do with himself. So I just don't know what it is with the Texans, but I'm thinking it might start being coaching with Bill O'Brien. I thought Bill O'Brien was a good pick. He's pulling the team together, it looked like, but now it's just looking to the point like he doesn't know what he's doing without J.J. Watt and with this quarterback who, the reason I didn't like him in the first place was because he left a Super Bowl contending team, the defending Super Bowl champions with
All about money, man.
without losing anybody on their defense and adding more people on their defense, which won them the Super Bowl to, chase the money. That's what he did, and that's what I didn't like about it. I was okay with him because I thought he would do all right, but Brock Osweiler is something. I don't know what he is, but he 1,500 yards, 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions on the year, and it's just pissing me off about how awful he's playing and how he's not leading this team to where they are. So I feel like he's going to drag this team down the next couple of years. But I'm taking the Lions because of how well they've been playing. I think, like I said last podcast, that the Lions are doing so much better without Calvin Johnson. Like I said about with the Adrian Peterson complex, which I think is a kind of a different thing because he's a running back, but Adrian Peterson requires about 20 carries a game or more because he's Adrian Peterson. But with Calvin Johnson, he had to get the ball thrown to him at least 10 to 11 times a game because he's Calvin Johnson. He's Megatron. And without him, Matthew Stafford's now spreading the ball out to Anquan Bolden, to Golden Tate. And he's having a heck of a year. 1,900 yards, 15 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. And if we're going to go with most valuable player in the league besides Matt Ryan, it's definitely Matthew Stafford, I think, in my eyes. Because we've seen that the Patriots can win without Tom Brady. But if Matthew Stafford's not in Detroit, what are they going to do? They're not going to do anything. Because Theo Riddick, he's out, he's injured. So if Matthew Stafford wasn't in this game, I would definitely pick the Houston Texans. But Matthew Stafford's just so much better than Brock Osweiler. Matthew Stafford's a very underrated quarterback, has been for years, because he's just on the Lions, who've never been able to form a defense or a running game. So I'm taking the Lions on this. I think Stafford has a huge, huge game.
Even though I picked them last week, I'm taking the Texans to win again this week.
I'm a fan, and I'm calling you an idiot.
They are 4-0 at home. They play so much better at home than they do on the road, and that has been their problem. And I think they're going to play very well at home. I think that defense is going to get after Matt Stafford. And I got
who's going to get after Matt Stafford?
I think Jadeveon Clowney is going to show up and make plays. I got the Texans winning this game by a field goal.
A field goal.
Yep.
JD's going a field goal.
And let's just go on to our next game. Right. And on to our next game where, Dylan, you can buy a ticket for $17 to this game. As we have
what's the plane ticket?
New York Jets traveling to Cleveland to take on the Browns.
Guys, I know early at the beginning of the show I said we're going to predict how the Browns lose. There cannot be a defeated team in the NFL. I cannot let that happen, or at least not sit there and say it's going to happen. So I'm taking the Browns at home against the very, very complex New York Jets, to where Ryan Fitzpatrick basically slams the Jets organization and calls Geno Smith, not very good right after Geno Smith tore his ACL, because Geno Smith was playing pretty bad and then tears his ACL. Then Fitzpatrick comes in and saves the day, and then basically at the press conference goes, well, I don't know what they were thinking. I should play every single game. Whenever you've thrown a league-high 11 interceptions in 7 or 6 games. And you're going to sit there and say that now. Now, basically, you don't have anyone behind your back anymore. So that's why I'm taking Cleveland in this one, because of how the leader of the football team, Mr. Harvard, Mr. Beard, Mr. weird-looking dude, Ryan Fitzpatrick, is handling everything. I'm taking the Cleveland Browns to get their first win, and I think the city's going to rejoice because they have a winning sports area again.
I'm right there with you. I'm choosing Cleveland because the Jets are a complete mess. Yes, they beat the Ravens, which was a good win for them, but I believe Cleveland will get this victory on the same thing you said, Dylan. I just believe that Ryan Fitzpatrick is too cocky and too comfortable with his job, and he's going to make mistakes, and I believe the Browns offense will finally get going with Crowell running the ball. And, yeah, give me the Browns to win this game.
You picked the Browns, too. I'm actually very surprised by that.
And on to our next game, where we have my New England Patriots traveling to Buffalo to try to get their revenge on the Bills.
Is there anyone in the NFL better than the Patriots? The Pat Riots, as I should say. Right now, no. After what I saw with Minnesota against Philadelphia, which Philadelphia's... Whoa, watch out for Philadelphia. I'll say that.
Not this week.
What?
Not this week.
But what... It's in Buffalo. Tom Brady's back. Rex Ryan versus Bill Belichick. I don't know why I'm talking like this, but I'm taking the Pat Riots just on the sole case of Tom Brady's back, and he's going to get revenge of their only loss on the season, which might possibly be their only loss of the actual regular season, the way it's looking right now. But also with LeGarrette Blount and the way Blunt's playing right now, Blount has 8 touchdowns, I believe. Yeah, it says 8 touchdowns on the year, and Tom Brady in his 2 2 or 3 games back, already has 8 passing touchdowns and 1,004 yards passing. Gronk, they're fully healthy, and there's nothing.
No, they're missing one piece. Deion Lewis, and he's coming back in a couple weeks.
Okay, well, still, I take the Patriots over over Tyrod Taylor. I take Brady over Tyrod Taylor. I take Blunt over LaShawn McCoy. Taking Gronkowski over anybody else on that team, no matter what position he's playing. But give me the Patriots just on the sole fact of I just feel like the Patriots hate the Buffalo Bills.
I think Brady is going to have a field day. He is jacked and he is hungry and he is pissed that they came into Foxborough and just whipped the Patriots around that game. And I believe that he is out for revenge and he is going to light up this Bills defense. I got the Patriots winning big.
All right. I'm not going to say big, but I say they get the win.
Big as in 14 points.
All right. Give me the new one.
All right, next one we had the Arizona Cardinals traveling to Charlotte to take on the Carolina Panthers.
You see, I like this matchup. I think this is Panthers definitely aren't who they were last year. Not at all. Cam Newton, some concussion problems. Definitely an issue for Carolina. Him not being in there for about a game. Then you also have Carson Palmer, who's been injured with a concussion as well this year, quarterback for Cardinals. But my X factor in this game is going to be the run game, and with David Johnson, probably the best running back in the league right now, just absolutely killing it maybe behind Ezekiel Elliott, but I think Johnson's more of a dominant presence, I guess you could say, because the Cowboys are just a great overall team, but Johnson's just killing it with, I think he had, 3 touchdowns last week, and just, making every fantasy owner of his happy. But so I'm gonna take the Cardinals. Just because the Panthers defense, I don't know what happened after Josh Norman left. They're just not there. Don't know what happened whenever he was gone, but I'm taking the Birds in Arizona over the Panthers of the Carolinas because of their defense and how well they've been playing lately with their secondary with Peterson, Matthew, and also Tony Jefferson just killing it, and then Chad Jones, I believe is his name, John Jones' brother, anchoring down that defensive line. Just
Chandler Jones.
Chad, same thing. But that's one thing I like about the Cardinals being a Super Bowl contending team this year, of maybe being one of the only teams to be able to beat the Patriots, if not the Vikings, because of their defense. But I would say the Arizona Cardinals would be more of a threat to the Patriots because of their secondary.
Yeah.
So I really like the Cardinals for the rest of the season. But we'll just have to see how it goes because the Cardinals seem to be a team that just kind of fall flat out of nowhere. So, but yeah, right now I got the Cardinals over the Panthers.
I'm disagreeing with you. I'm going Panthers. It's one of those gut feeling games again. I think that defense is finally going to come alive, and Cam's going to go back into the MVP form. But I got Carolina win this game by field goal. I think Greg Olsen will get involved in the passing game, and I think Luke Kuechly will get that defense right and cause pressure on Palmer and shut down David Johnson.
Okay. Hopefully Luke Kuechly comes around somewhere because I loved watching Luke Kuechly, and I don't know what happened to him. And he definitely needs to step up and get that defense together.
All right. On to our next game, we have the San Diego Chargers traveling to Denver, who is trying to get their revenge back against the Broncos.
Broncos coming off a very impressive win against the Houston Nobodies. And, we got one of the best quarterbacks in the league on one of the worst teams in the league, Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers, 2,000 passing yards already, 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, running up against Trevor Siemian. Big difference there at quarterback, but the biggest X factor in this game is definitely the biggest difference on defense. But someone to look out for is Joey Bosa. Joey Bosa has been killing it these few games he's been back. Last game he had 2 sacks. His debut, he had 2 sacks. He's been disrupting the run game a lot. So I'm going to go on a limb, and I'm going to pick San Diego in this game. I think this is just going to be a game where Phillip Rivers has a phenomenal game. I think it's going to be Denver might be coming off that high. They might be on a little bit on their high horse off of that win against Houston. Trying to get back at Brock Osweiler, all of that. They were talking so much trash before the game, and then it came in. They showed up. So I think they might just be a little bit on the high horse on that. So I'm going to take the Chargers in this one.
I'm disagreeing with you. After picking against Denver last week, I will not. I'll say it here right now. When Denver's at home, I am not picking against them until, let's say, I think it's week 15. I'll pick against them at home, but I'm not picking.
But you're still picking the Texans. What is wrong with you?
I'm not going against Denver at home, especially when they're pissed off after playing pathetic against San Diego in San Diego when they didn't even have Kubiak. So, as their coach that game, I'm going Denver to win big. I think that defense is going to light up Phillip Rivers. So, give me the Broncos to win big.
All right. That's actually a smart pick. I just got a feeling. All right.
Yep. Got to go with that feeling sometimes. Next game, we have the Green Bay Packers traveling to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. This is a very interesting game to me.
Yeah, it really is. You want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'm actually going to take Green Bay to go into Atlanta and get this victory. I think Aaron Rodgers has finally gotten back into his form after that win against the Bears last week. I think he finally got back to the point where he was getting everybody involved in offense. I think Jordy Nelson is due for a huge game as he only had 1 catch last game. That's unheard of. I've never heard of Jordy Nelson having 1 catch and the Packers dominating somebody. I think that this is the game where Jordy Nelson goes for 2 touchdowns, at least 130 yards. And I believe that run heavy or that very good run defense of the Packers is going to force Matt Ryan to throw the ball even though they are a pass-heavy team. But I feel like they're going to be so comfortable with their run game and focus more on their pass defense. And I believe that the pass defense of the Packers will prevail in this game and shut down Julio Jones and those other receivers.
All right, not so fast, my friend. You're playing in Atlanta, in the stadium where they create fake crowd
Falcons
noise.
are 1-2 at home this year.
Well, hey, I really don't care because I think what's going to happen here is both of these defenses are average at best, I think, and both of the offenses are very high-octane offenses. The Packers have the players to sit there and put up 35 to 40 points in this game. They could, but if you look at Aaron Rodgers' stats, it looks really, really good. 1,400 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. But if you watch him play, at least not last week, but before that, he just doesn't look like himself. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. Main reason with that is his receivers aren't getting open because they have no running game right now.
Well, yeah, and that's true. And Eddie Lacy, after losing all that weight, is still not doing anything.
He's out for the year.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, that might be an issue.
They have
But
Ty
still,
Montgomery coming in at running back right now.
It's also one of the things, like I've said, Matty Ice is definitely right now my MVP pick. And I think with Devontae Freeman and how good he actually is going to open up the pass game for Julio Jones to basically have another huge game with Matt Ryan. I say Matt Ryan throws 400 yards. Give me the Dirty Birds in this game.
All right.
I say Matt Ryan throws about 400 yards. Julio Jones has at least a touchdown or 2. But I think Devontae Freeman's going to have a huge performance against this Packer defense. Just because I think this is going to be a very high-scoring game. I think Rodgers will have a really good game. I think Cobb is going to be an X factor. Jordy Nelson, like you said, will probably have a touchdown or 2. But yeah, I'm going to take the Dirty Birds in this one.
All right, we're
Falcons,
going
by
to skip the next game because that was my game of the week. We're going to skip to the Monday night game where we had the Minnesota Vikings traveling to Chicago to take on the Bears.
Yeah, go ahead.
I am going to go out on a limb here and say that the Vikings got exposed by Philadelphia last week with the way that Philadelphia defense shut down Minnesota's offense, and I believe that Chicago is watching that game film hard and going to pretty much mirror Philadelphia's offense or defense, and I believe that this is going to be a very low scoring game. If you're a gambler, take the under in 40.5 points. I think it's going to be like a 10-3 victory for Chicago.
Really?
Yep.
Picking Chicago. He's picking Chicago. Man, I can't take Chicago. I really can't. So put me down for the Vikings. Yeah, they lost last week, but they lost to Philadelphia, who is no joke, who Carson Wentz is actually doing decent, which I'm not going to say next year he's going to suck because he probably will. But right now, they're playing great football. And I guess you can say the routine or the pattern you're seeing with these great football teams like the Patriots, the Vikings, the Eagles, and also with the Seattle Seahawks, why I think they're so good offensively is because they don't put the ball downfield very often. They stick to the short passing game and using the run game to open up the pass game later on in the game if it's a really close ball game, or they just run the ball to tire the other defense out late in the game. And that's what all these teams have in common. But then the other thing they have in common is a great defensive line. So I think the Vikings win this one easy. Maybe not a blowout, but easy. Definitely. I think Bradford's going to have a great game. Stephon Diggs will have a great game. And I think Sam Bradford's a long-term deal there in Minnesota. And I think next year, if they just keep the pieces together and they get Adrian Peterson back, I think that they'll be a little bit better than they are now.
Dylan, did you forget about somebody?
Who did I forget?
Mr. Mickey Mouse, Teddy Bridgewater.
What?
What are they going to do with him?
I don't think he's ever going to play in the NFL again.
Really?
I think of what I've been reading about his injury report is I read something the other day that
You think they might trade him?
that I think he's untradeable now. I really do. I think because of what happened. I was talking to our uncle who tore his ACL, which is nothing compared to what Teddy Bridgewater did. He did like 3 different things to his leg and basically tore his leg up to where they said it could be 2 years of recovery. And I was talking to my uncle, and he tore his ACL in college and said the injuries where it's non-contact and it's just a freak accident are always the worst, which is true. You hear about all these freak accidents like with Teddy Bridgewater.
Yep.
To where it never, like I read something that a lot of NFL executives in front offices have been like, they've been checking on it, and you would think there'd be some trade rumors going around a little bit already, not very much, but I think everyone, at least in the NFL circle, knows how significant that leg injury is. And when I read that, I couldn't sit there and say I doubt it, but because I can believe he won't play in NFL again because of the description reporters were giving of what was happening at the practice when they saw that injury.
Players
throwing up, screaming, and praying, and just sitting there and just freaking out of what they saw. So I would not be shocked if he doesn't play in NFL again. So that's why I think Sam Bradford's they need to keep him. They need to keep that offensive line. And they definitely need to get Adrian Peterson back and healthy again, because I think with him, that is a key component to maybe a Super Bowl team. Because he's aging, but with Sam Bradford, a veteran who's not as old, just a little bit, but quarterbacks are a lot older. They don't take a lot of hits. But if you keep that defensive line and that pass rush in Minnesota, I say the Vikings have a Super Bowl contending team. If not this year, I don't think so, but definitely in the next year or two.
Okay. I mean, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
But if Teddy Bridgewater is able to play again, I don't know what they would do.
I'd trade him.
Yeah.
I really would, because Sam Bradford's doing something with this Viking offense that Bridgewater hasn't been able to do with Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
So if you have Peterson open up the pass game and you still can't really do what Sam Bradford's doing without Adrian Peterson, I think that's kind of a sign of if he can come back and show like he can be a decent backup for the Vikings, he can definitely be great trade bait for him.
Yeah.
To definitely maybe spruce up that defense with some picks. For sure.
All right, and on to what I believe is the game of the week this year. Sunday Night Football. We have the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to Arlington, Texas to take on the Dallas Cowboys, Dylan. And reports have come out that Dak will remain the starting quarterback.
All right. You want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, I do. And
Okay.
I believe that the trade rumors are getting hot and heavy about Romo on the outs getting traded. And that is I believe that is the smartest decision Jerry Jones can make. I believe they need to trade him for draft picks.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead. I'll tell you about that.
And I believe that they need to leave Prescott alone and build the franchise around him and Ezekiel Elliott.
See, okay, I think this is the perfect situation for the Cowboys. If you sit there and say with the Cowboys right now, who the backup's Mark Sanchez, who I consider a veteran who has
Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, he's their backup. That's their backup quarterback right now.
I thought he was with Denver.
No, they cut him in that same day he got picked up by the Cowboys.
Jeez, he's just falling under the.
So basically, they have a veteran with a lot of experience. They have Dak Prescott, who is showing he can be he is a force to be reckoned with, not going to be. And if you want to talk about trading Tony Romo, and with a team who really needs a decent quarterback, but with a team that will probably hesitate because this team is on their sixth quarterback of the season, sending Romo to Cleveland would be probably one of the best trades Jerry Jones would ever make in his entire career. Because of trade, because of getting picks, because of how bad they are right now, getting a second-round pick or maybe a first-round pick for Tony Romo, who I think would do decent in Cleveland if they can just spruce up that offensive line. And getting those picks from Cleveland, those early picks, because of how bad they are, I think that's good on both sides, but more on the side for Dallas to spruce up that defense to where they will definitely be a Super Bowl contending team.
First off, I believe that they already are a Super Bowl contending defense right now. Their defense is playing phenomenal right now. That is the reason why they are able to move their defense isn't on the field as much as it was last year, and their defense was. I'm sorry, but I don't care if anybody disagrees with me. I strongly believe Dallas defense played like a top 5 defense in the NFL last year. Dylan, they were losing games 13 to 12.
That's the thing. I know.
With their defense being on the field 80% of the game.
I know, for the 12th time, I know. But like I've said in other podcasts, that with having Dak Prescott there, but last year having, who was it? Kyle Orton. Who were the quarterbacks for the Cowboys?
Kyle Orton, Brian Hoyer?
No, not Brian Hoyer. That was the Texans quarterback. You also had Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
You had all these quarterbacks that could not stay on the football field.
Matt Castle, too.
Matt Castle. Now you have Dak Prescott, who's a great game manager. And like I said with the Cowboys, never throws the ball downfield. Never throws the ball downfield. And you have Ezekiel Elliott behind that great offensive line.
Who's leading the league in rushing right now.
As a rookie, which is even more impressive. But then you have the defense. They're playing so good because, yes, they're off the field, they get rest, and they don't have that pressure on them as much. They're scoring a lot more than they were last year, which is not hard to beat, but they're not scoring a whole lot. Prescott's starting to get into motions where he will get 2 to 3 touchdowns a game now instead of a rushing touchdown and 200 yards passing and no passing touchdowns and letting Zeke run it in every time they're inside the 10. But I think it's getting to the point now to where, as I said last week's podcast when you weren't here, I don't know if you watched it or not, but Donovan McNabb said to trade Tony Romo and or Dez Bryant.
Oh, I think they need to get rid of both of them.
And they, again, with Bryant, you could get a receiver and draft picks, and with Romo, you can just get draft picks. And I would say maybe trade both of them to the Browns. And then hopefully, I don't know. This is just me hoping because I'm actually a huge Josh Gordon fan. But what if Josh Gordon goes to the Cowboys? Say if he cleans up his act, goes to the Cowboys, and doesn't have such a huge head because he shouldn't because he's not going to play for what the first time like he's not going to be able to play for 2-3 years.
He hasn't been on the field since 2014.
Exactly. So he's going to come in not having a huge head and not want the ball as much as he would in Cleveland because how well Prescott spreads the ball around to Williams, Beasley, and Witten, Butler, and all these things. And I think another reason the Cowboys are so good is because they run about 5 read option plays every game, which keeps the defense on their heels with Elliott and Prescott. Because Prescott, that dude can run. He's not very quick, but he's not afraid to hit something.
Talking about MVP, I know this is far out on a limb, and I know you're high on Matt Ryan right now, but the way Dak Prescott manages the game, and if he continues to manage the game this way and continues to lead the Cowboys to victory and gets huge victories, why could you count Dak Prescott out of the MVP race?
I could, but it pisses me off. Why? Because what really pisses me off about the people who select the MVP is because, okay, you remember when Tom Brady and Randy Moss were there? The reason Tom Brady won the MVP, yes, they went 18-0, but I think the reason he won the MVP is because he only threw, like 2 interceptions that whole year?
Yeah.
A great season. Definitely MVP deserving season. But if you're going to look at the Cowboys and Dak Prescott and say, I don't care if they win out and make it to the NFC Championship, say if he consistently keeps getting the stats he's getting now, he will not even, he'd be in the talk. People would be arguing for it, but he's not going to get it because his stats are not going to be as good as a Brady, even Carson Palmer, even as a Phillip Rivers, as a team that focuses on throwing the football.
Can I point something out?
Yeah, you can do that in a second. But I got a good point, I think, right here. And I don't think he even gives a flying crap about the MVP. Yes, it's a high honor, but he's playing for a team that plays so well as a team. He doesn't care about stats. He cares about winning, which is what they're doing. He's going to do what he can to open up that run game to get Ezekiel Elliott to bust for 20, 40 yards, and he's also going to get every receiver their touches by checking down and not getting frustrated, not basically forcing a ball into coverage. So I think with him being so cautious and him being so such a great game manager, making sure that they win the football game is going to cost him any talk of being an MVP. In the future, definitely. But this year, definitely not because I'm pretty sure Tom Brady's going to win it just because he plays for that. Just because he sits there and he plays for the Patriots and they're going to keep winning and it's going to be easy for them to win. The Cowboys, it's going to be a team effort to win. And you see that when the Cowboys are playing. You see the team effort. I know the Patriots play together as a team great, but when you see the Patriots play, you don't see the team effort. You see Tom Brady. And that's because of the legendary status that we've put Tom Brady on. Don't get me wrong, he's one of the top 5 best quarterbacks to ever play the game. But if you take Bill Belichick out of the picture and put Bill O'Brien, it'd be a whole different ball team.
Oh yeah,
it's the culture in New England that gives Tom Brady this, high praise. In that even if you put Dak Prescott in the same position Tom Brady is, the same exact team, the same exact coach, he would be the next Tom Brady.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
All
so,
right.
but yeah, that's what I think is going to. He should be in the talk for MVP later on if he continues this, but he's not going to win it just because of how he's not going to get as many touchdowns, and his stats aren't going to be as good as a Ryan or Rivers, Brady, or anybody like that.
The reason why I'm saying him being in the talks of the MVP is because honestly, the MVP, yes, it's about your stats. And yes, if you're lighting it up and all that, but it's also about your win and how much you're winning too.
Exactly.
Because I don't know if you know this or not. What week did Colin Kaepernick get benched last year?
I don't remember.
I think it was week 12.
Mm-hmm.
I think week 12, Colin Kaepernick's numbers were, if not identical, maybe a slight off from Cam Newton's. Completion percentage, touchdown throws, passing yards was identical, but Cam Newton was at the top of the MVP voting because he was winning ball games. That is why I have Dak Prescott up there with Tom Brady right now as my two to win the MVP right now.
Yeah, but do you remember why Colin Kaepernick got benched?
Yeah, because they were losing and they went a different route.
But look what's happening right now. Are you sure it's because?
Yeah, his attitude too.
I was about to say because Dak Prescott has the best attitude I've ever seen.
Oh yes,
and
turning down an endorsement deal to go spend time with his grandma.
Exactly, and talking to him when I was down there, such a humble guy. When I told him I was from Shreveport, I'm talking. He didn't just play it off as like, oh, that's cool. Like he actually got a genuine smile and was like, that's awesome. Like he loves where he's from. He doesn't forget where he's from.
Oh,
He's very humble, which is what you want. But I think it's because when he gets asked these questions about how great he's playing, there's a joke going on, at least from the people I talked to in Dallas with the reporters there, that every time someone asks about how he thinks he played that game, you can look up all of his interviews because I actually did it. Every single response is, well, first I got to check out the game tape to see how I played and basically review myself and see how I can get better. And the media doesn't want someone like that. The media wants somebody like Cam Newton who kills it on the field and celebrates on the field, basically mocks everybody else, and they want that praise. And even with Tom Brady, because Tom Brady's got that social media presence that even when he wasn't even on the field, he was mocking other teams every time the Patriots beat him on Facebook. And that's what the media wants. And am I wrong that the media votes for the MVP, basically?
Yeah, pretty much.
And so that's the problem with this MVP voting because, yeah, definitely in the top 4 players to be considered an MVP this year. I even think Ezekiel Elliott should be in that.
Oh, Ezekiel Elliott would be number 5 for me. It's Brady. I'm going to go and say I put Prescott number 2 right now. And then I would put...
See, I wouldn't put him that high, but I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, I would put Matt Ryan 3. And then Zeke is 5. I would have to put, what's his name? Honestly, I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say Derek Carr, number 4.
See, that could easily be a thing. But,
But, hold on, let's go ahead and get this pick between the Cowboys and Eagles done.
Okay.
And then we can continue that conversation.
See, I'm going to say Cowboys because it's at home, and it's a Sunday night game, and that place is insane. If you've never been to Cowboy Stadium, I say put it on your bucket list. Go to a Cowboy game. Even if you're not a Cowboy fan, the atmosphere is incredible. Outside of the stadium, they have live concerts going on outside the stadium with drunk people just going crazy who bought tickets to a game but not even watching it. But they have huge screens outside for you to watch. It's insane, the atmosphere there. Football...
It costs just as much to tailgate as it is to go inside to the game.
Exactly, yeah. But inside it gets so loud. Fans love football there in Dallas. So I'm taking Dallas because of home field advantage, but then also I think Cowboys defense is just a little bit better.
Whoa. I would say they're even because Philadelphia's defense is really good this year. The special teams play is phenomenal. I think they've scored in 2 straight weeks off kickoff returns.
Yeah.
But I'm going Dallas too. I think Prescott will be able to manage the game. Ezekiel Elliott will run the ball efficiently. He'll have over 100 yards. And Prescott's going to get Beasley involved. He's going to get Witten involved. They're going to control the clock and let that defense of theirs rest. And their defense will come out hungry, and they will make Wentz feel pressure and force turnovers. I got Dallas winning this game by 10.
Okay. Well, see, I'm very, this is a toss-up for me because I think this game's going to show who is the best rookie quarterback. And by that, I'm saying, it's not the battle of, the media is going to portray it as battle of Prescott versus Wentz, first round, 4th round. And, rookie phenoms. But what really is going to be the X factor of this game is the defensive line. And that's the Cowboys' biggest weakness is the defensive line. And the Eagles have a better defensive line. I see them just put pressure on every quarter, and like almost every quarterback they go up against, they at least get about 2 sacks every game, I think is what I read. But the Cowboys cannot get to a quarterback. So I think to pressure Carson Wentz, I say that the Cowboys are going to have to send Sean Lee to blitz. The defensive line can't do it by themselves. So which means the secondary for the Cowboys, which is drastically improved since last year, with Morris Claiborne actually playing great this year. He still can't tackle worth a crap, so he's got to make sure he doesn't get in an open field tackle situation because that ain't going to work out for him. So it's going to be on the defensive line and then the secondary to make up for the blitzing linebackers to pressure Carson Wentz, because Prescott is going to get pressured, but we've seen what he can do when he's getting pressured. We've seen that all year long. And also with Wentz, but I want to see, because I don't think Wentz has really gone up against a secondary like the Cowboys with Orlando Shadrick, Morris Claiborne, Carr, all of them. So that's why I have the Cowboys, because I think their secondary, their defense is going to have to step it up. But I'm believing in the Cowboys.
All right, and that's it, man.
So I actually enjoyed.
But do you want to go back to talking about the MVP race, or?
So thank y'all for joining us. Look out for the podcast we are about to do about everything going on in Dallas. We are about to make a podcast to talk about that because I really enjoyed talking about it with JD. So subscribe to us on YouTube. Dylan Marsh right there. I'm like the dude in the white shirt standing in front of a door and sign that says "Do not stand in front of door," because that's me. That's what I do. Like 1130 The Tiger on Facebook. Brand new Facebook page. We are like revamping ourselves. We are 1130 The Tiger -KWKH. So like us there. Thank y'all for joining us, and God bless.
All right.